Okay, here's our question. When 3x cubed minus 2x squared plus ax plus b is divided by x minus 1, the remainder is 3. When divided by x plus 1, the remainder is negative 13. Find the values of a and b. Well, this is basically a remainder theorem question. So let's just remind ourselves what the remainder theorem says. The remainder theorem says if you have a polynomial p of x and you divide by x minus a, then the remainder will equal p of a. You substitute a into the polynomial and that gives you the remainder. Okay. What that means, first of all, is that if we take our polynomial and divide it by x minus 1, we get a remainder of 3, which means if we substitute 1 in, we should get 3. In other words, p of 1 is 3. We also know that when we divide by x plus 1, the remainder is negative 13, which means p of our negative 1 is negative 13. Well, that's actually enough to create a simultaneous equation. So let's substitute 1 in and equate it to 3. So we've got 3 of 1 cubed minus 2 of 1 squared plus 1 of a plus b has to equal 3. And we can simplify, obviously, to 3 minus 2 plus a plus b equals 3, which would be a plus b equals 2. So I've used that first fact. Now I'll use the other fact, which is when we substitute negative 1 in, we should get negative 13. So 3 of negative 1 cubed minus 2 of negative 1 squared plus negative 1 of a plus b should equal negative 13. That's negative 3 minus 2 minus a plus b equals negative 13, which is negative a plus b equals, add 3 to one side, gives me negative 10, and another 2, negative 8. Okay, so we've got this equation here and this equation here, simultaneous equation. Lots of different ways to solve simultaneous equations. In this case, I think just adding the two equations together would be great because the a's will cancel. So I'm going to add that first equation and that second equation. The a and negative a will cancel, and I'll just get 2b equals 2 plus negative 8, which is negative 6. And that means b is negative 3. And I can substitute that back into the first equation. A plus negative 3 equals 2, which means a is 5. And it's probably handy just to check, double check that if you take that number and you take that number and substitute them into this second equation, that you do end up with negative 8, and you'll see that you do actually end up with negative 8. So we've got our solutions. A is 5 and b equals negative 3. And we're done.